could just use some more strength to it with a further information that could be backed up as far as, where the mayor stands on it or the police chief.
Well, they support it.
Right, but they haven't been voted on. The body cam
every
hasn't
one of
been
them.
voted on.
It wasn't on city council.
That's why they're talking about
okay,
gun violence and not the police.
Main guy?
All of
Everyone
them.
in these
Last
houses
one
hands
was pulled off the last city council meeting they had on there. And all that is to say is for those three recommendations, I think they're great starts, but I would like to see some more facts and figures on it. And that's what we talked about in the last steering committee meeting, was put together some kind of thing that we could read out that has more information on it. So I think great recommendations, I'd like to see a little bit more on them. I think the Hispanic one question I had on that was, where did that come from? Like, how did we come up with that? I think it's a good idea.
Well, a few things. So are we not voting on the recommendation?
No, we can't, I'm just saying,
So let me address first the body worn cameras. So the issue has been before city council. The money's been allocated. We've heard from numerous community members. There may be members of the PSAT members here that don't agree with moving forward, but we've got all the information at this point for a pilot project to move forward. I mean, we've heard from city council. We have the police, excuse me?
This is not a public meeting. This is not a public meeting.
Please,
There
don't
Our
interrupt.
police commissioner
I'm speaking, if
has
it's okay.
deprived Portland people of drinking water, which causes mental illness, crime, et cetera, and that's the truth. Our mayor, the police commissioner, and I'm tired of listening to these committees that are appointed by Mayor Wheeler to talk about things that relate to it, but the real serious problems for the public. They're in a desperate situation and it's never talked about.
thank you
It's
for
like
that.
a
We're
nuclear
gonna,
power plant that should be closed, and everybody should be up in arms about that. It's
We're gonna
required
have
to
a-
be closed by law.
thank you for that. We're gonna have actually a public comment in just a little bit, so you'll have a full 2
You
minutes
said that a little bit ago.
add on to that.
So, just to wrap up, so, it's a pilot project. The mayor's on board, the chief is on board, Daryl Turner, the union president is on board, everyone supports. I mean, to have all three in support of the same issue is rare. It's a pilot project, it's not permanent. So I just want to clarify that it was decided in the city council prior, and just because it was pulled off doesn't mean that it's not still on board to move forward. And again, I think Fritz reiterated that and the council reiterated that when they turned down the amendments. The other thing is about Natasha. She came and gave testimony, she did a presentation. I don't know how, personally, I thought she was overworked. And that the work she's doing is amazing and wonderful, and she needs help. So I don't know how, hearing from her again about the work she's doing, we can do that. We can bring it to the subcommittee. But I think, from what I've heard from her and the amazing work that she's doing, something we should continue to support and move forward with and try to get her some help. And the Hispanic Advisory Council, something that we don't have. So it's just kind of like adding to the African American Council, Slavic Council. So it's what I thought was a no-brainer, just to look at the advisory councils that we do have and then add to it, especially with the issues that are affecting that community with ICE and over-policing and all the issues. Seems like something that would be very helpful.
Other PSAP comment.
Yes, I attended a presentation by Tammy Mayer of the Portland Police Department. She is Portland Police Bureau. She is a non-sworn member, but she is involved deeply with the body camera project, and they are moving forward with that project. I'm not sure whether it's still a pilot or it's out there, but the next step, I believe, is to get bids on the body cameras from several organizations. There's a few that they have, the police department has worked in the past, or one that they have worked with in the past.
So the
and
other
then
little
ones
committees and
that
shit that
are
they run
going
to
to
get city
provide
funds, right?
bids.
That's how it works.
And once they have that, there's certain steps will be taken, policies and so forth. So along with what Sam has been saying, this is
nonprofit for-profit
to my
projects, I get
knowledge,
it.
approved by
If they
city
do it
council,
right, they'll be on
and there are
other
steps
boards
being
and
taken.
city jobs
There is a lot of work that needs to be done before it's actually implemented.
Nepotism.
But I believe that the money is
That way they
there,
have
and
plausible
there is-
deniability for how they get their funds and who it comes from. Interesting.
Yeah, and how it gets spent, for example.
One question, well, a few
The
questions.
overseer, so-called overseer, you met with him?
One and four, I would really love to see what the money was going to be used for and how it was going to be implemented.
This whole
Three,
process
I
has
mean,
been
two,
undertaken. It's ridiculous.
first of all, if I'm not mistaken, they pulled that from the budget,
I got an
didn't they?
idea for community
And
engagement.
secondly,
Stop
I'm
killing
pretty sure that
people.
we already had a recommendation on body worn cameras at some point in the past.
Stop
I don't
murdering
think we had a
blind people and
recommendation and
dropping
it was
weapons on
supposed
them.
to
All
be budgeted.
engaged underground.
I don't know if anybody else.
So,
Didn't they just vote to spend more money on not actually getting body cameras?
For the body worn cameras,
It's specifically the,
it's been a lot of community meetings, but still not a lot of answers to questions that were asked from the community about the policies, the viewing of the tapes, like before writing reports, like somebody said, and who can be involved in shaping those policies. It didn't seem like community could really be involved. It was more up to the union and Portland Police Bureau, so I'm just not
par for the
there.
course, get used to it.
In the conversations I've had with Daryl Turner and Port Police and around this issue, so when this happens, they have to create pilot policies as well. So that is still open for discussion. Before it moves forward, those things will have to be.
You can discuss it, but they're not gonna.
From what
support her
the
policies.
discussion I had with Daryl, they have to create pilot policies as well that everybody agrees on with those, and those were the important issues that came up with Turner and Pastor Haynes about reviewing the video before reports, and so
Turner should have to.
moving forward, that is something that will be addressed in public comment.
Water wings,
oh yeah.
just water wings.
Can happen. I would
Putting
assume,
Mary's
well, I would assume
swinging
that, make sure that happens. So,
Large and in charge.
Hell yeah.
That biggest dick whip. Whip it out, Ted.
any other comments from PSEP?
She wants that button, Dick.
See, Yolanda, I just had more of a suggestion. As far as Natasha Hansberger coming to another meeting, I also agree that that's probably not necessary. I think I wouldn't be surprised if she already has like a document that she could send over talking about the possible expansion, even a budget. So I think because many of us are overworked, so I just would be supportive of just doing transactions through email or phone instead of
think there's enough snouts in the public draw.
Yeah, because the thing would be like, hey,
How do we get a cut of this?
there's a recommendation to expand your office or endorse your office. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what more support could you use? Things of that nature, I think would be helpful.
Get the kick out of it.
Before we
Very entertaining.
we have a comment from Sharon Gary Smith.
So he's got to stay in there.
Can you not hear me? Well, they need to record it.
Are we opening up to public comment?
But I just didn't want to squeeze up there until the break.
Okay, that was my only
Oh,
clarification.
yeah, great.
So wait, he doesn't even know who's on his own board?
Just the thought.
No, she's black, she can't be on this board.
He said, and the fire
Oh
oil.
no, please step on.
In some of these cases, when we're
I'd
talking
appreciate it.
about after the fact, the possibility that input from public and others who have vested interest, public interest and lived experiences, if my recommendation, particularly around body camera, is the idea of moving forward differently requires different thinking and different actions. So I'd like to suggest that we consider suggesting there are people with expertise, however they've been engaged with the Portland Police, that could bring some different perspective to some of these issues of who has the power and the authority to own the tapes, to see the tapes, to manage the tapes, to monitor the tapes, whatever that is about the body cams. Because that is a critical issue in community after
I say put
community
Mike in
after
charge of the
community.
body cam footage.
So I would like for us to invest in making these recommendations that
That'll never
might
get his
not
hand
come
out
out
of the
of a historically different kind of operation, and allow us to participate differently with them if we want different outcomes. A suggestion, and requires different thinking and
Make
acceptance.
Mark Berger wear one at all times,
And the other
including
is,
when he's taking a
I
piss.
would like to think that people, again,
Just
with
give him
lived
an SS uniform
experiences,
so he'd be happy.
in order to change how you
Some
hire
cameras in the
people
women's
who
restroom.
have particular experience, let's say gang involvement. And I've always said, the mayor, city council, the city club, those are all gangs too, people who come together.
There we go.
And I'm only saying that because how we categorize and name people and who we go after is also tied into the history of the city and this country. Coalition of Black Men, Black Male Treatment Initiative, there are people who work with these young men, certainly LaConya's group, who could sit and provide a different eye, ear, and expertise about how you consider what you need, who you need to be out on the streets. If we want to transform and change the statistics that for many of us are our lives and our community. Thanks.
Are you sure you want to step down from the committee?
No wonder, look at the committee.
No, look at me.
Any other recent comments?
She just doesn't want to sit next to Sam Sachs.
Okay, we're gonna open it up to public comment. Lana, go ahead.
No, I just want to say for the record, I'm familiar with like HR policy and around hiring, and so Lakeisha's concerns are very real about, outreach workers. And so I would be happy to help with that in any way that we can, because I think as civilians, we can either sit like on our oral boards or, help with the questioning. Or there's definitely, I believe there's ways we can be involved.
Great. We're gonna open it up to public comment. 2 minutes. You just wanna line up at the front, direct your questions to the four proposals, recommendations that we just heard. And
Public
please
comments,
introduce
how
yourself,
is it?
name, organization.
No, I want to see what people say, let them line up.
Oh, you're not gonna go talk?
Hello, my
Oh,
name
yeah.
is Philip
I just
Wolf.
wanted to,
I'm just an individual. I'm very focused on police accountability and have been for the last 10 years here in Portland. And I do have lived experience with police brutality. Regarding body-worn cameras, this is a big issue, clearly, and this is where I am very, very sensitive about this topic. I've been involved, I have been going to every presentation that's offered, I've been doing my own individual research, I've been questioning other officers about their thoughts, I've looked at best practices for body-worn cameras in other states, and it is my understanding that, and it has not yet been voted down, we are still focused on the pilot, a 1-year pilot, but with the understanding that it won't go into effect until a year later. And so I just, wanted to validate what the dean said about they're still looking for bids. They are still doing comparison on prices, and once that is finalized, it will then go to a vote, and then they'll continue on with the pilot program. But it won't be going into effect until a year later. Sam, your recommendation about body-worn cameras, I say we need to hold our horses on that. I think we need to take a step back. And when you said the mayor is in support, the union is in support, PPP is in support, those individuals are police, they are officers. The mayor is the police commissioner. It's a conflict of interest. So to say all of these people support, let's go ahead and move ahead and support this, I think we need to take a step back and think about that. I also want to again do a very clear reminder that the largest gang in the US is the police force.
Yes.
And we know that really they're the gangs in blue. So the gang enforcement units, they have been targeting
Black people. It's very clear, 59%. The population here in Portland is 6%, so that is a huge disparity.
You're reaching right at your 2-minute mark.
So, okay, yes, let me just add that. And so I'm just saying they are targeting Black individuals, it's harassment, it's racist, and to support the police in saying, let's keep supporting these racist practices, I think we need to take a step back. And I believe, Sam, on Twitter, you had stated your encouragement of the Gang Enforcement Unit and said your support of them, and I feel that that's a little bit of a controversial view. It's pro-police, it's pro-mayor, I'm pro-Hardesty, I'm pro-community, and for you to say that